chefs and exhibitors and all the other great things that we have to offer here at the Expo, including this beautiful weather that we have here on the Mendocino coast today. Today I have the honor of introducing to you a very good friend of mine, Kevin Gianni. Kevin is an internationally known health advocate, author, and web TV host of the Renegade Health Show. Kevin has helped thousands of people through his multimedia productions about optimal health, raw food, and abundant living. He's the author of High Raw, A Simple Approach to Health and Eating and Saving the Planet, and co-author of The Busy Person's Fitness Solution, as well as the creator of over a dozen programs on natural health, including the widely viewed Rockathon series, which I was on, and which I know many of you people have seen. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Kevin Gianni. Throughout the entire weekend, he's going to be sharing with you some of his expertise, including a culinary program with his wife, Anna Marie. So please help me welcome Kevin Gianni.
Just want to do a quick mic check. Can you guys hear me through the mic out there? Awesome. Sherry, thank you so much for the introduction. I think that she made all that up, but this is an amazing event, and I am excited to be speaking here today in front of you guys for one very specific reason, because I'm going to give you one simple tool. We're going to talk about a few other things, but I'm going to give you one simple tool that you can use for the rest of your life to help you eliminate cravings. Now, you're going to look at someone like me and say, all right, this guy's like 30 years old, he's like trim as a string bean. You know, what can he tell you about cravings? Well, let me tell you, in my past life, I had a few challenges. It started in high school. I played football and basketball and tennis, so I was always into fitness. But there was something that was lacking, and it maybe was the nutrition. Who here may have had that similar experience, where they knew working out was cool, and that it was a great way to help you build some muscle and maybe even lose some weight, but they just didn't really get it with the nutrition. I mean, I grew up with, grilled chicken and brown rice and steamed broccoli, and that was kind of the idea of what a healthy dinner was. But before our tennis matches, what we would used to do is my doubles partner and I, we would go to the school store right in the cafeteria. It's probably about 3 times the size of this town hall here, and there was a hole in the wall. Not a real hole in the wall, but it was actually a school store. And inside of it was this kaleidoscope of colors, of different packaging, of different things. And we would each grab a pack of Twinkies, and we would each get a Mountain Dew. And what would we do? We would sit down at the table, and we'd watch our friends go by, get on the bus, and we would eat the Twinkies, and we'd wash them down with the Mountain Dew. And then, what we would do is this. We would get into my mom's Caravan, we would pop open the back windows, and we'd drive around the neighborhood behind the high school, and we'd each smoke a cigarette. And then we come to play our doubles match. And, by the way, we were number 1 in the conference. Imagine if we had not done that, if we had actually had a real nutritious type snack before our tennis match. I mean, I'd be beating Federer right now. I don't know about that. That guy's good. But what happened was, after high school, I went into college, and I decided to forget all this fitness stuff. I still lifted weights a little bit. But what I decided to do was become a full-time partier. I became very good at partying. I actually managed to be so good at partying that I would arrange all my classes to be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I could stay out until 4 o'clock. The bars didn't close till 4 o'clock in New York. I don't know what time they closed here. But stay out till 4 o'clock and then get up at about 1:30 and decide if I wanted to go to class. Now, this isn't doing much for my credibility, but it is doing some for the fact that I can deal with cravings. Because what happened was, because I became addicted to alcohol. Alcohol is a serious addiction, right? But here's the thing. I think that alcohol addiction, sugar addiction, any sort of addiction are all very similar. It just happens to be the subject or the actual food or the ingredient that you're dealing with. So what happened was, after college, I moved into an apartment in Brooklyn, and I lived with some of my friends, and I was working for an internet company. I was kind of a manager. And I was living in the basement of this apartment, and literally between my bed, so my bed was on this side, there was a sheet, and then I was sitting at my desk here. And so literally I spent probably about 23 minutes a day in the sun, and the only time I was getting out into the sun was to smoke cigarettes. So if you could kind of narrow it down, cut it in half, that would be the time because I'd smoke about a pack a day. So it was a minute a cigarette, and that's what I would do. But what I found was that my friendships were deteriorating. I found that my lifestyle obviously was deteriorating. I was working out, but I was not getting any results. Who here has felt that before? It's frustrating, right? I was a fairly large guy. I was 30 pounds heavier than I am now, and it wasn't all muscle, that's for sure. But there was some muscle, and I just wasn't getting the results. I wanted a six-pack abs because I was single at the time. I was like, man, I want to meet a girl so I can just show her my six-pack abs. So my mind was all messed up too, right? So what happened was this. One night I went out, and I got excessively drunk, and I woke up the next morning, or probably the next afternoon, and I peeled my head off the pillow, literally. And what I did was I looked around, the room was still spinning, and I asked myself a simple question. And the question was, is there anything better than this? And guess what? When you ask yourself a question like that, what do you get? Do you think that's a good question? I think it's a good question. But see, what happens is that we make a mistake when we kind of do self-inventory. So if we're doing something that we don't like, what we do is we ask ourselves questions like, why am I still doing this? Or, why am I addicted to sugar? Or, why am I addicted to alcohol? And guess what happens? You start to get answers. And what kind of answers do you get? Ones that you don't want. Because what we do is we ask these questions and we get negative answers. And as we're asking them, we're continually affirming the negative belief systems that we are building in our bodies. So if we say, why am I so lazy? Why can't I get this project done? What's going to come up? You say, well, I got to deal with the kids, and I got to work out, and I'm never working out, so I'm just sitting here. I might as well just watch TV, and I'm just never going to be good enough to get this project done or anything like that. And so as you're saying these things, we all have heard of affirmations, right? You say an affirmation, and that's what that's what you believe. But as you're saying these, what's happening is that you are constantly affirming a negative belief. That's not good. But I was able to literally snap out of addiction within 1 week. I quit drinking alcohol. I've not had a single sip of alcohol since. Within 1 week, asking that single question. So I said to myself, how can I teach other people to do this? So I started to become a personal trainer. And then I realized that just the personal training wasn't working. And that's when we got into nutrition. And what I realized is that the more I was talking to our clients, amazing people, smart, intelligent people, but what they were doing were things that they knew they shouldn't be doing. We're driving around the country right now in an RV. Have you guys seen the Renegade Health Show? Do you guys know who we are? Cool. If you don't, you can check out renegadehealth.com, and you can see we have a daily health video show Monday through Friday. We're traveling around the country in an RV, and we park at various RV parks or Walmarts or all different places around the country, maybe even just city street. And what I didn't know is that when you drive in an RV with big old stickers plastered on it with my goofy cartoon face and Anne Marie's beautiful cartoon face on the side of it that says Renegade Health, I finally started to realize what a priest feels like. You guys don't even know where I'm going with this, but here's what happens. We pull into a spot. We park, we put the jacks down, we hook up the RV, we put in the electricity, the water, everything, the water filter, all this sort of stuff. And literally within 15 to 20 minutes, there's someone lurking around the RV. And generally, since we're in RV parks, they're generally, retiree type age. And so what happens is either we'll go out and we'll see this person like kind of snooping around, can I help you? Or they'll knock on the door. And we'll come out and they'll say, oh, what kind of rig is this? And I'll tell them it's a Cummins engine, 325 horsepower and all this stuff, because that's what everyone wants to hear. And then they kind of go like this. Wait a minute, sir. I don't know what's going on here. Come here, I got to tell you something. And they pulled me to the back of the RV and they said, I'm really not eating healthy as I should. Literally, it's like being in a confessional all the time. But what's the disconnect? There's something going on. We are smart people, right? We're smart. We know better. But I believe it's just, very simply, the questions that we're asking ourselves. So here's the deal. I told you that I would give you a secret that you can literally do in about 10 minutes. Or, sorry, 10 seconds. But I'm not going to do it right now. I'm going to let you wait a little bit longer. Because I want to tell you another story about addiction. I used to host an open mic. You guys know what an open mic is? You know, people get up, play guitar, sing, sometimes do comedy acts. Generally, the comedy acts aren't very good. I allowed one comedy act, and I said, no more. But what I did is I hosted this open mic at a coffee shop in Bethel, Connecticut. And they had this amazing spread of different treats and snacks. So they had great teas, but they had great treats and snacks too. And one of the snacks that literally had this magnetic zombie-like pull towards was their brownies. It was a brownie that was like gooey, but hard, and chocolatey, and not, and white powdered sugary, and not. Anyone getting hungry? All right, so the people who are laughing right now, we're going to work with you, okay? But here we had this brownie. So what I would do is every single Thursday, I would walk up to the counter and I would almost like a zombie, my hand would go, whomp. And I would say, I want this. And so I would eat this brownie and it tasted good. And then I would play my guitar and then I would get home and I wouldn't be able to sleep. And when I woke up in the morning, I would have dark circles under my eyes and I would feel like I was somewhat hungover. And so I let this happen for a long time because I really, really liked the brownies. But what I was realizing was that what was happening during the day was that the next day I was shot. All this sugar, all these things that were going into my body was creating some sort of, discordance, some sort of, agitation. And so one day I said to Anne-Marie, I said, I got to stop this. I can't eat these brownies anymore because they're messing me up. And so I went to the coffee shop that Thursday. And I said, today is the day that I stop eating brownies. I laid down the law. It was willpower at its best. And what I did was I walked up to that counter and I said, I'm going to have this brownie. And I ate that brownie. It happened for about 2 more months. Every single Thursday, that willpower, bam! I'm going to have this brownie, I swear. And I said, this has to stop because it doesn't matter what it is, but if you feel out of control about something, that's really something we think we should address. Has anyone ever been sitting at their desk or sitting at their office at 2 o'clock, absolutely plenty of good things to do, and they needed to run out to get one kombucha? Anyone had to go out to get one package of chocolate truffles, of one bag of corn chips? If you feel that pull, and you have better things to do, we're dealing with something here. But I'm going to tell you how you can get rid of it. So what I did was this. I said, look, Kevin, if you can overcome a little bit of an alcohol addiction, you definitely can overcome these brownies, right? So I said, well, what did I do? And I couldn't figure it out. You know why? Because it was too simple. So I have this mind on me, I think that I'm like really smart, right? But when I think about all the things that I do, I'm like, everything is a pattern. And I'm actually fairly base, it's just fairly simple kind of things. I do very simple things all on a regular basis. And so I realized that I was actually overanalyzing what worked for me. And I tried willpower, and that didn't work. So I said, well, what did you do? And I said, well, you asked yourself a question, and what was that question? Well, is there anything better than this? And I looked at the brownie, one day, and I was just like, well, if I ask that question, what will happen? I'm like, is there anything better than this? I'm like, yeah, there's a movie theater down the street, and they have this like hippie brownie that has, all these different type of caramel and marshmallows and all this other sort of stuff. I'm like, yeah, so there's something better. I said, that's not the right question. That's not the right question. So I said, what could be the right question? And I stewed with it for a little bit. I did. And I said, well, what can I do? And I tried it. I said one day, I said, you know what? I'm going to go to the open mic, and I'm going to ask myself this question. What is a better option? What is a healthier option? That's all I was going to say. And so I, probably put on a nice little shirt because I knew it might be my last day ever, or it might be the day that I would actually, break up with the brownie. So I, needed to look at myself and say, all right, you look good, don't look too nice, don't look, whatever. So I went up to the counter and I looked at Heather, the barista, and I said, today I'm going to have, and I looked at that brownie, and right then something snapped in my head and I said, what's a better option than that? And I said, I'll have a chamomile tea. And guess what happened? That was the last day that I ever had that brownie. But it was too simple, right? What is a better option? I truly believe that the questions that we ask ourselves define our lifestyles. People who have lifestyles that you may want, I guarantee they're just asking better questions. It has nothing to do with their genetics. It has nothing to do with their level of health. It has nothing to do with their experience. All it has to do with is the fact that they've created a habit of asking themselves better questions. Every single day, I ask myself 3 questions. One question is this: what can I do today that's healthier than yesterday? Is that a good question? Yes. All right, good. The second question I ask, because I really want to spread this message, is how can I help more people learn how to be more healthy? Is that a good question? Yes. The third question is, how can we continue to generate revenue in order to help people get healthier? So those are 3 important questions. I did a talk in Austin. There's some guys from Austin here. There's a whole faction over here in Austin, and someone raised their hand after I said that I did ask myself these 3 questions. And I was just like, wait a minute, dude. I'm like, this is my talk, But I have another question for you. I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's cool. He's like, the question that you also need to ask, add to your 3 questions, is what can you do to help please your wife every day? And so I said, you know what, man? I said, that's a good question. So I'm going to add that to the 3 questions that I ask myself every day. So now I ask myself 4 questions. Who here, complete honestly, I really want to work with you here. Who here thinks that they can ask themselves at least 1 question every morning? Anyone have any idea where you can put a reminder to ask yourself a question? Shout out. Mirror? Great. Where else? Refrigerator? What's that? Your pillow? You can print it right on the pillow. That's a great idea. You can print it right on a pillow. That's awesome. You know where I have some of my questions? In the shower. I got a sheet. I printed out a sheet with some of these questions. I laminated it, and then I posted it up on the shower. We haven't put it in the shower in the RV yet, but we have it posted. We had it posted in our condo. Because, what are we doing in the shower? Like washing our hair, looking around. Look, if we can look at these questions, why don't we give ourselves a reminder? Because again, remember, we think that we're smart, and a lot of us are very smart. But on some levels, we're actually very basic. And if you can actually trick yourself in a way to look at these questions, put them in places. When I first got this idea, Emery, where did I put all these little questions? Everywhere. I put them by the light switches. I put it by the garage door button. I put them everywhere. I put it on the car dashboard. Just so, I know, I'm like a geek, right? But I wanted to nail it into my head that this would be a way that I could actually get over some of the things that I wanted to get over. Because here's the truth. When we're in the supermarket and we're walking along the fruit or vegetable aisle and something takes over us, that zombie takes over us and literally walks us into the chip or cracker aisle, puts our hands out literally like this, and then we dump stuff into the middle, we don't feel good about that. What we don't feel even good about is even worse is this. When we walk up to the checkout girl and all the stuff's in the basket, and we say, these aren't mine, but I'll take them anyway. And then on the way out to the car, what are you doing? Literally ripping open bags and eating these foods before we get home. Who here has finished a bag of chips before you got home? All right. So we're all on the same page here. So all I'm really asking you guys to do, which isn't much, is this, is find out a question for you. Now here's the thing. How do you find out what questions work for you? Well, I have this little thing, this little trick that I learned. It's all about tricks and secrets and all that sort of stuff. It's really not. It's so easy. Here's the thing. How many of you really, truly know what you really want? All right, we got like one or two of you. You guys are awesome. All right? Because I don't even really know what I want. All right? But you guys are awesome. I want to talk to you so we can figure out how I can get there too. But this is cool because you guys are already getting there. But if you don't truly, really know what you want on a regular basis, here's what I suggest you do. I've done it, and I know that it works. So here's what I suggest you do. It's called a perfect day exercise. Have you guys heard of this perfect day exercise? All right. Cool. Perfect day exercise is this. One day, maybe after this weekend, because you guys are going to be fired up after this weekend. You guys are going to be amped up about all the information you've learned. So now one of these moments, this is like the moment to change because you have all this information in your head and it's all kind of waiting to be literally put into its position. So imagine right now or at the end of this weekend, you have this big table and you dump like a 5,000 piece puzzle on it, right? So it's just boom, there it is. I mean, that's what your head is going to be like at the end of this weekend. But it's going to be good because what you're going to be able to do is start putting the pieces together and applying them to your lifestyle. So what I really suggest you do is we're going to do a big old dump, and then we're going to start to arrange everything so you're laser-like focused towards what you want to do. Who here would like to be laser-like focused towards what they want to do? All right. Yeah, that's a good feeling when you know. Like sometimes I get it, and I'm like, I know what I want to do, and I'm like, phew, I forget everything around me. The cat can literally be like scratching my ear off, and I'm just like, I'm here. I'm working. I know what I'm doing. I'm ready to go. You're driving, you're like laser-like focused. Everything everything passes by you, right? And you're just like, how did I get here? It's because you were on it. You knew what you were doing. So the perfect day exercise is this. One day, in the next week, hopefully, what I would like you to do is sit down with yourself in a place that you really enjoy. Bring a pad and a pen, or pencil, whatever you guys choose. And what you're going to do is you're going to write down for at least an hour to maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours, as long as you enjoy, you're going to write down exactly what your perfect day is. Now here's the thing. You have to forget everything that exists in your life right now. All right? So if you have kids, if you have a job, if you're living somewhere you don't like, if you have a boss that you can't stand, you have to forget about this. You have to erase this from your memory. And you have to write down every single thing that you would do on that perfect day. Every single thing from how you wake up in the morning, what kind of light you see in your room, who's lying next to you, who's licking your face, what you eat for breakfast, who you call in the morning, who you talk to on the phone, what your work is, if you work at all. Okay? All very specific until the time that you go to bed and who sings you a lullaby. Very, very specific. Now what's going to happen is this, I guarantee it, is that about 10 o'clock in your perfect day, you're going to look at this and say, this is BS. I will never, ever achieve this. I want you to fight through that. Okay? I want you to keep working through that because something's going to happen around lunchtime. All right? Lunchtime in the ideal perfect day world, right? We're only doing this for an hour. So what you're going to do, what's going to happen around lunchtime is you're going to start to slip into this perfect day. And you're going to start to really feel it, and you're going to start to visualize, and as you're writing it, you're literally see yourself doing these specific things. And it's going to feel really good. Now, what do you think we've done here? We've done something very cool. We have literally almost hypnotized you into a feeling that is your true passion. And if there was something that you could bottle, not a nutritional powder, not a goji drink, not anything like that, if there's something that you could bottle and that you could keep with you and use to help benefit your life and your health, this is exactly what it is. And so we want to use this. And someone even suggested to me that they take the perfect day and then put it in a bottle and then keep it somewhere where you can see it all the time. And I said, that's a great idea. So you're going to get this feeling, and this is the feeling that you're going to take with you any time that you're feeling weak. Because why doesn't willpower work? Because it deals here, in the mind. Why does this work? Because it deals here, in your heart, in your passion. So now here's the thing. You're going to say, well, this perfect day is so far away from what I actually want to achieve. How do I get there? Well, how did you get here? First, you got out of bed. You maybe started walking, brushed your teeth, put on some shoes, tied them up, put on some clothes too. I'm like, wait a minute, there's something missing here. Got in a car or walked from a bed and breakfast to here. So you did it. Right? I didn't come to your room and start speaking. That would have been weird. But there's a process that goes along. So if you're going to get to your perfect day, it's not going to happen tomorrow. But you can start on it tomorrow. You can start on it today. And here's what you do. You write down 10 things that very simply can start to get you there. So say, for instance, your perfect day involves you sitting on the beach drinking Mai Tais every single day of the week. It's your perfect day. Well, how can you get there? Say that you live in New York City. You live in a walk-up apartment, 5th floor in Manhattan in the East Village. Dirty, dingy, dark. Lead paint. $2,500, that's cheap. You live there with 2 other roommates. And literally, you guys you sleep on a 3 bunk, here, here, and here, in the kitchen. The galley kitchen. You're going to be like, wait a minute, I can't get there right away. Beach? Can't get there right away. So what do? Well, for heaven's sake, just look online and get a picture of the beach. Put it up on your screensaver. One thing done. Now you're moving. Number 2, what else can you do? There are little things that you can do to get you towards there. Say that you want a new job. You definitely want a new job. All right? Say that you want this. What do? Well, it doesn't make sense to quit today. Well, maybe it does. But it doesn't make sense to quit today. Maybe what you do is you go on Craigslist and say, who else is hiring? Maybe you go to monster.com. I don't really know what these places are, but you find a place where you can see where there's another opportunity, and you just go. And then after you do those 10 things, what do? You make a list of 10 more things. Eventually, as you build, just like walking from a bed and breakfast to here, you get from where you are to where you want to be. It's such an amazing process. What we forget is that we always want everything right now. Who here wants something right now that they can't have? I know. I want that brownie. I'm just kidding. But this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're working with. But I'm going to give you another tip. It's kind of a package of tips. They're going to help you get prepared too. Because along the way, what if the big fog rolls in? We're in the Pacific North. Well, no, not North. Is this considered Pacific Northwest? Yeah. All right. In Northern California, it's kind of like Pacific. Yeah. So we're a little lower. But fog rolls in here like crazy. And then you get that like mist rain. It's kind of weird kind of rain. So if you're walking from your place to here, and suddenly that fog rolls in, and it can roll in a matter of minutes, well, it probably makes sense to have a jacket with you, right? So you want to be prepared for all the things that happen to you. So what I suggest is this. I suggest 3 different toolboxes that you carry around with you have with you for your own specific lifestyle. And now toolboxes are cool because here's the thing, is that it's very easy to have a plan. You can sit down and write a plan very quickly. It's very easy to know where the materials are. So say, for instance, I was building a house tomorrow, and I was going to build one right next to this town hall. I was going to build it right over that street. So I was going to go like this, because it's a nice little area here, and this is where I want to live. And I said, all right, cool. I called Home Depot, and I said, I want all the lumber delivered. I called an architect, and I said, I want all the plans here ready by tomorrow, because we're going to start building. And I'm going to hire all the guys over here, even the guys out here smoking pot. I'm like, come on, man, come on over. Let's build this place. So what we have is we have this lumber. The police will probably be upset because it'll probably be on the road, but don't worry, man, we'll get it up. And so we have all this stuff ready to go. And I look around and all I have is a hammer. Has anyone ever tried to saw through a 2x4 with the claw of a hammer? It's going to take a very long time. A lot of us only have one or two tools to be able to get to where we want to go. And health is very important. Because a lot of us only have a few different ticks on our dial in terms of what we know in order to get us to the health that we want. So what do we need? Well, we need a circular saw, not for health, but for the house. We need a circular saw. We need wire cutters. We need all these different things that's going to help us build our house. It's going to be real nice when it's done. So here are the tools that I suggest you set up. One, you set up a fitness toolbox. Who here wants to work out more than they do right now? Right. Absolutely. So what do? Well, if you're prepared, you might be able to find a place, a time, and a space to work out. So what I suggest that we do is we look at all the things that we have done in our workout and our fitness regimen, and we say, all right, which ones do I like? Which ones can I do in 5 minutes? Which ones can I do in 10 minutes? Which ones can I do in 20 minutes? Which ones can I do in 2 hours? And what we do is we put it into a real solid 3-ring binder that's your fitness toolbox. So when you're sitting somewhere, say you're sitting in your home office or you're sitting at your office and you say, wow, I have about 20 minutes. I would really love to work out, but I just don't know what to do. Lack of tool. In that case, you only have a hammer. And that hammer says, well, I'm just going to go on Facebook. You just type around, you're like, all right, well, 20 minutes shot, and then you leave for work or leave home, wherever you're going. So if you can create a fitness toolbox, you can say, hey, I know a great workout that I can do in my office in 10 minutes, then I'm done, then I can leave, everything is cool. To even add to that fitness toolbox, what if at all times you had a bag that had an extra pair of shoes, maybe your iPod, pair of socks, and a little bit of trail mix, and maybe a bottle of water, that anywhere that you go, if you're driving along and you see a little playground and you see a track, you could just pop on your shoes, walk around the track 5 times, and then go home. Would that make it easier? Absolutely, because now you have the tools with you to be able to do the things that you want to do. The second toolbox is a nutrition toolbox. Who here has bought a raw food recipe book? Good. That's good. You have tools. That blue is really hard to see the black on it. 10 minutes. Cool. Thank you. Who here has bought a raw food recipe book? We have one. Well, where is it? That's Victoria's book. Buy that one too. 165 smoothies for optimum health. This is a book where you have your tools. This is a toolbox. What I suggest you do is that you're not going to like every single recipe in that book. I guarantee it. But you're going to find a bunch that you do. And if you get a bunch of books, it gets overwhelming. Who here has a stack of raw food cookbooks and has probably only looked through about 3 or 4 of them? And if you look through the other ones, you've just thumbed through it and you never made anything. Right? So what if you took an hour and thumbed through them and earmarked, or just put little markers into each recipe that you thought sounded good? That would be really powerful. And then what you would do over the period of maybe a month or 2 months, what you would do is actually start to put these recipes into, well, start to prepare them first, see if the family and you like them, right? That's important. And then, if you like them, yes, you make a copy, you put it into another 3-ring binder that's your nutrition toolbox. And if you don't like them, guess what? You never look at it again. And what you're doing is you're slowly picking the tools that you like to use and that you know you can use in certain situations. So if you have 20 minutes, you make sure that you label how long it took you to make those recipes. And so when you have 20 minutes, you come home from work at 8 o'clock and the kids are screaming and the spouse wants to eat real fast, you know that you can prepare something in 5, 10, 15 minutes that everyone likes. This eliminates the need to call the Chinese place. It eliminates the need to call the pizza place, even if they have a vegan pizza. It eliminates that need. It's great. The third toolbox, and one of my personal favorites, is a spiritual toolbox. And I don't necessarily mean a spiritual toolbox in terms of a religion, but I mean something that means something very important to you. Almost like a shrine. So what I used to do is I had this big old desk. And I used to work at my desk, but I used to collect rocks from all different places. And each place that I went, I would get these rocks and I'd put them around my desk. And these would be like my shrine. And I'd have little sayings and I'd have little elephants. I really like elephants, so I'd have elephants on my desk. Unfortunately, now in the RV, we can't have all this stuff on my desk because anytime you break on the RV, like they become missiles. Things like shoot all over the place. But we had a rock, one of those Himalayan crystal salt lamps. That thing is a bomb. I mean, literally, like you slam on the brakes, things go boom. You're like, oh my gosh, we just hit someone. But anyway, on my desk, I would put all these things, and this would be my personal shrine. So what can you put in your nutritional tool, or not your nutritional, your spiritual toolbox? Well, it's whatever really moves you. And I can suggest a ton of things. You can put a prayer, you can put a saying, you can put a poem, you can put a CD that has your favorite song on it. You can put necklaces, you can put rings, you can put anything that means anything to you. And please put your perfect day little jar with the perfect day inside of it, one of these little ball jars. You could even put like a little bow or ribbon around it. Put your little perfect day right there too. Because I'll tell you what's going to happen is that the more you spend time here in that place, you're going to get moving towards where you want to go. And here's the thing. A lot of us are living lives of unpotential. All right? So a lot of us are living lives that aren't doing our highest and best purpose. That saddens me. You know why? Because each and every single one of you has incredible ability to do whatever you want. And on top of that, because you're here, because you're a little bit enlightened in terms of eating a fresh, clean diet, each and every one of you has a very important message to share. It's almost your obligation. I don't want to weigh you down, but it's almost your obligation. Because you know this information, without sharing it, you actually can harm more people. That's what I look at that every day. I'm like, if I don't share this information, like people are going to be harmed. They're going to be eating things that I think may cause them illness. And then they won't know what happened. And then they're going to be like, what's wrong? And then they're going to go to the doctor and they're going to do this and that. Say, oh my gosh, no. But each one of you has unlimited potential and can be a beacon of light for whatever you choose to do. Does that feel good? You can do whatever you want. Imagine. The only thing I'm asking you to do is this. We don't need to save the world tomorrow. All we need to do is ask 3 simple questions. Or, for me, that's 3. For you, maybe just 1. How easy is that? Can everyone do that? Yeah. Raise your hand. Awesome. Thank you. I'll take 2 or 3 questions. What kind of time do we have? Any questions? Yes, in the back. The 3 questions that I ask myself are, what can I do today to make me healthier than I was yesterday? What can I do today to help me reach more people with a message of health? And then the third one was, what can I do today to help generate more revenue so I continue to help people and continue to spread the message? That's mine. So, the augmentation of the last 2 might be a little bit different. But the most important one is, what can I do today to be healthier than I was yesterday? If you ask yourself that, you're dynamite. Because things just start to replace themselves. So, you're looking at a pizza, like, well, what can I do today? Or say, yesterday I had a pizza. Well, what can I do today that's healthier than pizza? Well, you got a lot to work with. But, it's like, hey, all right, cool. Now I can work on something else. I can get a green juice. That's healthier. All right, what's healthier than the green juice? Well, you might hit the pinnacle there, but you know what I'm talking about. Anyone else? And please your wife. Oh, yeah, and please your wife. Yeah, the fourth one was, what can you do today to please your wife? Yeah. So, cuddle, snuggle. Yeah, another one, go. Yeah, we have our book High Raw, and I talk about all this stuff in our book High Raw. And you can see Anne-Marie, my wife, afterwards. And I think is there a table that I don't know how this works, but yeah. Okay. Okay, after? Okay, where is that? Okay. Awesome. Yes, the questions that I ask myself are in this book, yeah. Yes, you. Thank you. The best example that I've seen, because we've been traveling around the country for the last 7 months, the best example I've seen is Katrina Blair in Durango, Colorado. Do you guys know who Katrina Blair is? Anyone here? Katrina Blair is an amazing woman. What she's done, she has a Turtle Lake Refuge. Turtle Lake Refuge. And what she's done is she has grown an organic garden, and what she does is she provides the fresh greens, organic greens, to the local schools in Durango. That, I think, is the most amazing example of what you can do to reach people. It's almost like it's a covert kind of thing, because the students don't care or know, but they're getting this amazing nutrition. And I guarantee that the teachers notice a difference. So that's really one of the best ways. Think about how you can get into a place where, maybe there's a way to arrange where you can provide them with something, maybe for payment or not, where they can really get nutrition almost in a covert kind of way. Because, who here has sat at the dinner table around a holiday and literally gotten into an argument with Uncle Jimmy, whose stomach's hanging over the table and turkey stains all over his shirt and all that stuff, and you're just like, dude, this is how you can eat better, and then he's shouting, no, I saw it on CNN, and all this sort of stuff. I mean, how many people have done it that way? It doesn't work. We can't bring the kale salad to the family dinner anymore and expect them to eat it, like it, or really appreciate anything that you're doing. So really the way to do it is kind of get these things in a covert, kind of sneaky way, a nice way, and provide for the community, and the community then will turn and start to say, all right, this feels really good. So I have 1 minute left. I think this is it. This is good? All right. So I'll talk to you on the way out. All right, so thank you guys. Thank you. I really appreciate it.